Chapter 666. Healed in an instant. Mingyao opened her eyes and looked at Yushu confusedly. She felt as if she had just woken up from a nap, and now she was full of energy and an indescribable sense of comfort. Shu, did I fall asleep? Where is this? Isn't this the classroom? Yeah, sis, you're finally awake. That's great, I was worried to death. Yushu didn't answer Mingyao's question. She held Mingyao's hand and cheered happily. Shield bro is so amazing. I've decided I'll continue to be with you. With that, Yushu suddenly hugged Lin Yi and kissed him on the cheek. Lin Yi was startled, but he didn't think much of it when he saw the excited Yushu. Yushu was always like this, crazy. Pengzhan and Faubert didn't think much of it. All of their attention was on Mengyao. Yeah, you're finally awake. That's great. How do you feel? Pengzhan didn't expect Lin Yi to really wake Mengyao up. This was completely out of his expectations. What confused him was that Lin Yi didn't seem to have done anything at all. All he did was hold Mengyao's hand, and Mengyao woke up after a while. Xiuming was shocked as well. Xiuming, on the other hand, was shocked as well. What had Lin Yi done? How did he make a person on the verge of death suddenly become so energetic? This was a miracle in the history of medicine. Only Faubert was deep in thought. He could roughly guess what Lin Yi did, but he didn't dare to believe it. But other than that, there was no other explanation. In the Wulian world, there was the concept of energy transfer. It referred to a person's energy or qi being transferred to another person through a special method. This usually happened when one of them was too heavily injured. In order to save him, the other person could only transfer his own true qi to him. Of course, there was a limit to the power imparting. The person imparting the power and the person being imparted had to be practicing the same type of cultivation technique. If the cultivation technique was different, the jinqi in the body would naturally be different as well. Imparting rashly would not only fail to save the person, but even the person imparting the power might suffer a backlash. How did Lin Yi do it? Besides, it was one thing if Mengyao was a practitioner of martial arts. Although the practitioner's qi was different, there were still some similarities. The problem was that Mengyao was a normal person. How did Lin Yi pass his qi to her? Faubert was really shocked. Of course, he also understood that this kind of thing might involve the secret of the sect. It was taboo for martial artists to ask about the things of their sect. Naturally, Faubert would not ask about it. Even if he was curious, he could only keep it in his heart. I'm fine and I feel like I'm full of energy. Why am I here? Mengyao felt strange. Why did she feel like she was lying in the hospital? Dad and Faubert came to see her? Wasn't she in school? Yao sis, we were talking at noon and then you fainted. I was scared to death, so I sent you to the school's sick bay. A lot of students fainted. Yushu said, don't you remember? I think I remember a little. I was so tired that I fell asleep. Mengyao recalled the scene and it seemed like it was true. Yeah, those doctors even gave you a notice of critical condition. What a mess. Yushu said angrily, I thought I would never see you again, but Shield Bro came and cured you in an instant. Those quacks, I'll scold them later. Mengyao saw that Yushu was so worried about her and her heart warmed. She was just curious about the doctor giving her a notice of critical condition. Naturally, she wouldn't think that those doctors were quacks like Yushu. There must be a reason for them to do this. Perhaps Lin Yi curing her wasn't as simple as Yushu made it out to be. Mengyao looked at Lin Yi gratefully. Thank you, Lin Yi. It's nothing. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Mengyao waking up was only temporary after all. Lin Yi could feel the energy draining from Mengyao's body, and the speed could only be described as terrifying. It wouldn't be long before Mengyao fainted again. Why don't you take a look at the other students? Xiuming asked. Yeah, Lil Yi, can you help the other students too? Pengzhan knew that Lin Yi's actions weren't as simple as they seemed to be after his daughter woke up. He didn't know if Lin Yi would be willing to go save someone else, and so Pengzhan only used a negotiating tone to ask. The cheers in Mengyao's room attracted the attention of the parents in the other rooms. When they walked out and saw that Mengyao had woken up, they rushed into the room. Godly doctor, please save our child, I beg you. Yeah, miracle doctor, I'm begging you, please save our children. They didn't see who it was that saved Mengyao, but they were sure that it was one of the people in the room, so they called him a miracle doctor. The hospital had already issued a notice of critical condition anyways, so who could save a person in such a situation if not a miracle doctor? Then what was? Lin Yi looked at the parents, then at Pengzhan, and immediately understood why Pingzhan wanted him to save the students. If something really happened to these students, Pingzhan's school and company would be implicated. What Pingzhan and Lin Yi didn't know was that the dire wolf had gone back to the newspaper office and made a report, requesting for an extra edition of the newspaper to include the school's poisoning incident. He also wanted to update the newspaper's online version with this explosive news. This third-rate newspaper was privately owned and it wasn't very famous. The editor was just worrying about how to increase the popularity of the newspaper, and suddenly seeing such explosive news, of course, he wouldn't let go of this opportunity to hype up. Chapter 667. Tang Yun's hesitation. Some even said that the school was actually a biochemical base with a lot of viruses planted inside. These students accidentally touched the source of the virus and the biochemical crisis broke out. Of course, this was all written in a speculative tone. It was just Direwolf's personal hypothesis. If you want to say that he was slandering, it was very clear that this was just speculation. All the truth was waiting for the police to investigate. This way no one could find fault with it. Finally, Direwolf also used a warning tone to write that this kind of scary school, even the daughter of the school's chairman couldn't escape. Who would dare to send their own children there? Today's 28 students, will they be your children tomorrow? Cherish your life, stay away from the first school. As soon as Direwolf's report came out, the parents of the first school students were instantly in an uproar. They all rushed to the school to ask for their children to go home. The report made it very clear that under such circumstances, who would dare to continue studying here? What if the one who fainted tomorrow was their own child? The principal and the dean were not in the school, only the vice principal was there. He couldn't stop these parents. After all, if the parents wanted to bring their children home, he couldn't just reject them, right? Therefore, most of the students in the school were gone. The number of students left was less than a third, and they couldn't continue classes. The vice principal could only announce a temporary suspension of classes, and all students could go home. Lin Yi wasn't there, so Kang Xiaobo went to find Lu Xinwen and Tang Yun. Lu Xinwen and Tang Yun's families didn't come to the school. Tang Yun's parents were both in the hospital, and Lu Xinwen's parents were busy discussing the demolition strategy. Did boss contact you? Kang Xiaobo asked Tang Yun. No. Tang Yun shook her head, he's busy. Tang Yun didn't want to be treated as a girl who was always monitoring Lin Yi's movements. Since Lin Yi didn't say anything, she naturally wouldn't take the initiative to call him. Tang Yun's sis-in-law, do you know? Meng Yao is one of the 28 unconscious students, and the hospital has already sent out a notice of critical condition. I don't think she'll make it past tomorrow. No one will be able to compete with you anymore. Kang Xiaobo said in a low voice. Kang Xiaobo was there when Yushu ran out of the classroom with Meng Yao on her back, but he didn't know what was going on at the time. Kang Xiaobo only knew that Meng Yao had fainted after the news spread. Although Meng Yao was beautiful and Kang Xiaobo didn't want anything to happen to Meng Yao, he was a man with a girlfriend now and he was on Tang Yun's side. Of course he didn't want Meng Yao to hurt Tang Yun. If Meng Yao really died it would be pitiful, but Tang Yun wouldn't be a threat anymore. Ah. Is she also unconscious? Tang Yun was stunned after hearing Kang Xiaobo's words. She didn't think that Meng Yao would be one of the unconscious students. Although Tang Yun didn't like Meng Yao, it didn't mean that she wanted Meng Yao to die. She just didn't like Meng Yao's high and mighty attitude, but if something happened to Meng Yao, Tang Yun would still sympathize with her. After all, Meng Yao was only 19, it was the prime of her life. Yeah, I saw it with my own eyes. Zai, life is really unpredictable. Kang Xiaobo sighed. Meng Yao was still arguing with Tang Yun in the afternoon, and in the blink of an eye she was lying in the hospital. Tang Yun was hesitant, really hesitant. When Tang Yun heard that Meng Yao fainted and was admitted to the hospital, her first thought was that Lin Yi was a skilled doctor, and he should have a solution. But asking Lin Yi to treat her rival in love? Tang Yun felt awkward and she didn't feel comfortable. But she couldn't just leave Meng Yao to die, could she? A rival in love was a rival in love, and she had a fair competition. She didn't have to be afraid of her. She was Lin Yi's girlfriend now, and this was her advantage. She was only Lin Yi's employer. Thinking of this, Tang Yun felt relieved. Should she call Lin Yi? After all, Meng Yao was his employer. Since she knew, how could she just leave Meng Yao to die? Yun, what's wrong? Are you worried about Meng Yao? Lu Xinwen saw Tang Yun's hesitation and couldn't help but ask. Xinwen, I need to tell this to Lin Yi. He has medical skills and he should be able to cure Meng Yao. I can't just leave her to die, Tang Yun said as she took out her phone. The phone was smashed once but it wasn't damaged. Only the paint on the back was chipped. Yun, are you stupid? Meng Yao died and there's no one to compete with you. Why do you still want Lin Yi to treat her? Lu Xingwen looked at Tang Yun strangely. She wanted to touch her forehead to see if she had a fever. Xingwen, this is a different matter. She is competing with me and I'm not afraid of her. I can't just leave her to die like this. Tang Yun bit her lips. Although she said she wasn't afraid, she was still a little nervous. After all, Meng Yao's appearance wasn't inferior to hers and she had a good family background. Plus, she said that the pavilion closest to the water enjoys the moonlight first. So, the starting line between the two could be said to be the same. The most important problem was that Meng Yao had Yushu by her side. Yushu wanted to be the second wife and she even wanted to play 3P. Although Tang Yun was pure, she wasn't completely clueless. She knew what 3P was. She had heard the boys in her class talk about it before and it seemed to be very attractive to them. She didn't know if Lin Yi would be able to resist the temptation. Hey look, you don't mean it. Lu Xingwen saw the flicker in Tang Yun's eyes. She shook her head, but do what you want. If you want to fight, then fight. Tang Yun nodded and dialed Lin Yi's number. Lin Yi looked at the students' parents who rushed in. He didn't know how to explain it to them. Logically speaking, since Pingzhan had already spoken, Lin Yi naturally wouldn't shirk his responsibility. But at this moment, Lin Yi didn't have a real solution. Lin Yi sighed. Just when he was about to speak, his phone rang. This saved Lin Yi. He looked at Pingzhan apologetically and picked up the phone. Tang Yun, what's wrong? When Tang Yun had nothing to do, she usually wouldn't call him during the day. Even if she had something to do, it would be through text. Lin Yi, where are you? I heard that Meng Yao fainted and was sent to the hospital. Hurry and save her. Tang Yun gritted her teeth and said. Chapter 668. Can't save her. Alright, I'm hanging up. Tang Yun didn't want to say anything else. Alright, I got it. Lin Yi smiled. Lin Yi was standing right beside Meng Yao, so she heard everything Lin Yi said. Even she herself was in disbelief. She never thought that Tang Yun would call Lin Yi and ask Lin Yi to save her. Miss felt bad. She was a cold person on the outside but warm on the inside. Even if she was a little arrogant, it was formed after living in a family like this. It wasn't a big problem. He was a kind person. Miss felt guilty when she heard that Tang Yun was worried about her. If she were Tang Yun, would she ask Lin Yi to save her? Would she? She didn't know. In actuality, Meng Yao would have asked Lin Yi to save Jiang Wen as well, just like the first time she met Jiang Wen at the theme park. Meng Yao didn't like Jiang Wen's pursuit of her, but she couldn't just stand by and watch him die when he was acting up. From this point, it could be seen that Tang Yun and Miss had something in common. They were both kind-hearted people. Thank her for me. Miss wanted to thank Tang Yun before Lin Yi hung up, but she couldn't bring herself to say it. She waited until Lin Yi hung up. Lin Yi nodded. Lin Yi would be happy to see Miss target Tang Yun less in the future. When Lin Yi was on the phone, the parents didn't dare to disturb him. They had heard from Pingzhan and Guan Xiumin that the person who saved Meng Yao was this ridiculously young man in front of them. So when Lin Yi hung up, he was surrounded by the parents. Miracle Doctor, can you please take a look at my child? Don't hesitate to ask for the medical fees. As long as the chairman can afford it, we'll pay for it even if we have to sell everything we have. The parent thought that Lin Yi was a miracle doctor invited by Pingzhan. Yeah. Please save our children. We won't let you do it for free. Another parent said. My family runs a company. Although it's not as big as Chairman Chu, we still have millions of assets. As long as you save my child, you can ask for as much as you want. A well-dressed parent also said. It's not that I don't want to save him, but I can't. Lin Yi had a headache and could only tell the truth. The parents froze, including Xuemin and Pingzhan. They didn't know what Lin Yi meant by that. Couldn't be saved? Lin Yi doesn't want to make a move? Faubert, on the other hand, was guessing that Lin Yi might really have used his own qi to awaken Meng Yao. However, this method had a huge impact on one's strength. If it wasn't someone important, no one would sacrifice their own strength to save someone else. Faubert was a physical practitioner. He didn't have qi in his body, but even if he did, he wouldn't use his own strength to save someone unless Pingzhan or Meng Yao were injured. But now Pengzhan and Xuemin were asking Lin Yi to save someone else. It was obvious that they were making things difficult for Lin Yi. Miracle doctor, you can't just leave them to die. Yeah, that's not how a miracle doctor should act. The parents panicked, but they didn't dare to say anything too overboard. After all, Lin Yi didn't have any obligation to save them. They were complimenting Lin Yi, but at the same time they wanted Lin Yi to save them. I've said it before, it's not that I'm leaving them to die. It's just that I can't do anything right now. Lin Yi shook his head. Can't do anything? But you've already saved Chairman Chu's daughter. Yeah, miracle doctor, didn't you already cure Meng Yao? The parents didn't believe Lin Yi's words. They thought that Lin Yi was just refusing to save Meng Yao. Oh no, Yao sis fainted again. Yushu suddenly screamed, pulling Meng Yao's hand in panic. She looked at Lin Yi. Shield bro, come quick. Why did Yao sis faint again? Yushu's scream startled Pengzhan, Li Fu and Guan Xuemin. The parents, on the other hand, didn't know what to do as they looked at the unconscious Meng Yao, not knowing what was going on. You guys saw it for yourself, I didn't save her. I only woke her up temporarily. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He grabbed Meng Yao's hand and checked her pulse. It was very weak, almost the same as when he first saw her. Even if she was a little stronger, it wouldn't be by much. Meng Yao's energy had been depleted and there wasn't much left. But the good thing was that after fainting, her energy consumption was much slower than before. Even so, she wouldn't be able to live past tomorrow. The parents finally understood what Lin Yi meant. Lin Yi didn't actually cure Meng Yao, he only woke her up. What's going on? Xuemin and Pengzhan looked at Lin Yi, not quite sure what was going on. Shield bro, what do we do now? Why did Yao sis faint again? Is she going to be okay? Yushu was panicking. She'll be fine for now, but I still need to think about how to save her. Can you guys please leave? Lin Yi looked at the parents in the ward and said, after I find a way to save her, your child's symptoms will naturally be cured. Lin Yi's words made the parents feel more at ease. At least Lin Yi wasn't ignoring them. Since that was the case, they naturally didn't dare to disturb Lin Yi anymore. They quickly left the ward, giving Lin Yi some space to think. Pengzhan hesitated for a while and said, should we leave too? Not for now. Lin Yi shook his head. He was very anxious. Although Lin Yi was quite knowledgeable about poisons and antidotes, he lacked experience. Because of his years of training outside, Lin Yi didn't have much time to learn about poisons and antidotes. He had a body full of theoretical knowledge, but he didn't know where to start. Right now, he didn't know what poison Meng Yao was poisoned with, and he didn't know where the source of the poison came from. He could only start from Meng Yao's body. If he was poisoned, how would the old man treat him? Lin Yi frowned and started thinking about the old man's treatment methods. When he was young, he was bitten by poisonous insects and his life was in danger. At that time, the old man didn't know where the source of the poison came from, and he couldn't tell what the poison was from the symptoms. If Songshan First Hospital was a public-private partnership, then Guan Xuemin's words wouldn't have much influence. However, Songshan Second Hospital was completely privately owned. This meant that his son Guan Xiaoxiong was the biggest boss of this hospital. Even the dean had to listen to him. Putting aside his prestige in the medical world, even if he was just a normal person, his words would still carry weight in this hospital. Guan Xuemin immediately called the hospital director. Soon, a ward was cleared out in the emergency room. It was a fully enclosed operating theater. Soon, the medical staff pushed Meng Yao into the surgery room. Pengzhan, Faubert and Guan Xuemin didn't follow them in. Although Guan Xuemin wanted to know Lin Yi's acupuncture method, he could only give up the idea after hearing Lin Yi say that he couldn't be disturbed. I want to stay with Yao sis. Yushu didn't want to leave and ran into the surgery room. Shu, don't disturb Lin Yi's acupuncture. Come out now. Pengzhan knew the relationship between Yushu and his daughter, but he had to show his authority as an elder. He didn't want her to disturb Lin Yi. I won't. Shield bro, are you kicking me out? Yushu looked at Lin Yi pitifully, but her tone was firm. I will stay with Yao sis. You don't have to leave. You can stay and help. Lin Yi didn't have the intention to kick Yushu out. After all, he was going to talk to Meng Yao about acupuncture later. If Meng Yao took it too hard, Yushu would be there to persuade her. Shield bro is the best. Yushu was happy. She could do something for Yao sis now. Peng Zhan let out a breath of relief after hearing Lin Yi's words. He didn't have to worry about Yushu being Lin Yi's assistant. After all, Yushu would never harm Mengyao. He would do her best. Lin Yi walked into the surgery room and locked the door from the inside. The room was soundproof and no one outside could hear what was going on inside. Shield bro, are we going to save Yao Yao sis now? What do you need me to do? Yushu asked urgently. When I do acupuncture later, I need Yao Yao to take off her clothes. But Yao Yao might feel pressured. Can you help me talk to her? Lin Yi said to Yushu. Okay. Yushu nodded. But Shield bro, are you trying to use this opportunity to see Yao Yao sis' body? Ha. Lin Yi smiled. Don't see. What's the point of discussing with her? I'll let you take off her clothes now. Oh, that's true. Yushu thought about it. He was right. Then what's the point of discussing? I'll take off Yao Yao sis' clothes now. I don't care if she agrees or not. Let's ask her for her opinion. Lin Yi waved his hand to stop Yushu from continuing. He held Mingyao's wrist and channeled the art of dragon mastery. The energy in Lin Yi's body surged into Mingyao's body quickly. Not long after, Mingyao's eyelashes moved. She woke up again. This time she realized that something was wrong. I fainted again. Mengyao opened her eyes. She was in an unfamiliar room. It wasn't the isolation room. Luckily, the people in front of her were familiar people, Lin Yi and Shu. The energy in your body is being destroyed by the poison too fast. I can only transfer my energy to you to wake you up. But this is only temporary. If I stop, you'll faint again, Lin Yi said. Mengyao was shocked. So that was it. She thought she had recovered. What happened to me? You're poisoned, Lin Yi said. Chapter 670. Is Yao Yao sis pretty? Yes, I'll use acupuncture to force the poison out of your body, but I'll need your cooperation, Lin Yi said. How do I cooperate? Mengyao asked. Take off your clothes, otherwise I won't be able to do the acupuncture, Lin Yi said. No way. Mengyao was stunned and rejected subconsciously. Take off her clothes? She blushed. How could Mengyao agree to take off her clothes in front of Lin Yi? At the very least, she wouldn't be able to get over it. This was related to her chastity. How could she let a man look at her body so casually? You can treat me as a doctor. Lin Yi guessed that with Mrs. Personality, she wouldn't just take off her clothes in front of him. She was in pain even after drinking his drink. He was different from Yushu. Miss placed a lot of importance on this aspect. This was also why Lin Yi had to ask for Mingyao's permission. He didn't want Miss to have a knot in her heart after this. Mengyao frowned. Lin Yi was right. He was a doctor now, but how could she treat him as a doctor? This was a complete lie to herself. If Mengyao let him see her naked body, how would she face him in the future? How would they live under the same roof? How awkward would that be? Besides, would she still want to get married in the future? Lin Yi was right. Mengyao was a girl who placed a lot of importance on her body. She wanted to give her future husband a pure body. Lin Yi shrugged and looked at Yushu. He would leave this task to her. After all, Mengyao would have to wait for a while before she fainted again. Lin Yi didn't say anything. He walked to a chair at the side and sat down, waiting quietly. Yao Yao sis, you have to take off your clothes. Be good, be good. Yushu knew that Lin Yi had given her this task. Naturally, she had to work hard. Hee. Mengyao couldn't help but find it funny that Yushu was talking to her like a little adult. She was usually the one telling Yushu to be good and obedient, but today it was the other way around. Shu, do you know that a girl's body can't be seen by a man? It's not that casual, I just want to show it to Shield bro, it's fine. Yushu said. But that won't do either. Only my future husband can see it. Mengyao said. A girl's chastity is very important. We'd rather die than let people see it. I see. Yushu rolled her eyes, but her expression was one of regret. Yeah, that's why I said let Lin Yi heal me with his clothes on. I won't blame him if he can't heal me. Mengyao said with a smile as she patted Yushu's hair. Then I'll help you undress. Yushu said as she moved to help Mengyao. Mengyao didn't expect that her best friend wouldn't understand what she was trying to say. He hurriedly stretched out his hand to stop her. What are you doing? Didn't I tell you already? A girl's body is very precious. You can only show it to your future husband. That's right. Shield bro has seen my body, so I can only marry him and be his second wife. I'm the second wife, so you're Shield bro's first wife. So he's your future husband. It's fine to let him see it. At most he'll see it in advance. Am I right? Yushu said confidently. Mingyao's eyes widened. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Yushu's words, but Shu wasn't wrong. Lin Yi did see Shu naked. He even touched Shu's boobs and kissed her. It was quite intimate, but Yushu's theory of first wife and second wife was still a little hard for Mengyao to accept. Wasn't it too far-fetched? But Mengyao suddenly remembered that she said that she wanted to be with Shu forever and be a good sister forever. He felt a little dizzy. She didn't expect that she would overwork her brain and pass out again. Oh yeah, sis, I'll take it that you're too shy to say anything. Yushu rubbed her hands together and started peeling Mingyao's clothes off excitedly. It didn't take long before Mengyao was peeled off like a little lamb. Lin Yi didn't go over, but the surgery room was only that big. Lin Yi's hearing was amazing. He could hear what Mengyao and Yushu were talking about, but he didn't want to interrupt. He could only pretend that he didn't hear anything. Yushu, on the other hand, was taking off Mingyao's clothes while she was unconscious. Lin Yi found it funny, but he didn't stop her. He could tell that the psychological barrier had loosened a little, and it wasn't possible to convince her in a short amount of time. Yushu had already taken off her clothes and Mengyao had no choice but to accept it. Shield bro, come here. I've already stripped Yao Sis's clothes. Yushu called out to Lin Yi excitedly. She was no longer worried after knowing that Lin Yi had a way to save Mengyao. Lin Yi heard Yushu's words and found it funny. It was as if he was a gangster and Yushu was his accomplice, helping him to harm Mengyao. Lin Yi couldn't help but hold his breath as he walked over. Although he was trying his best to control himself, he was now a doctor and he couldn't let his imagination run wild, but the person in front of him was the Mississippi. How could he not let his imagination run wild? It would be a lie to say that Lin Yi didn't have any fantasies about the Mississippi. After spending so much time together, Lin Yi would definitely have some thoughts about the Miss and Shu. However, Lin Yi couldn't really steal the Miss's body, could he? Mingyao's skin was fair and clear and Lin Yi's eyes were fixed on it. He didn't want to look away. This was the first time Lin Yi looked at a girl's body openly. Although he had seen Shu's before, it was an awkward situation and he didn't get a clear look. As for Lingshan, Lin Yi didn't dare to look too closely, but now he could look as much as he wanted. Shield bro, does Yao sis look good? Yushu noticed Lin Yi's weird expression and asked. Lin Yi wasn't stupid enough to fall for it like Zhang Wen. He didn't say anything and took a deep breath to clear his mind. Let's get ready. Yushu was disappointed that she didn't get what she wanted, but she was happy at the same time. If Shield bro was as stupid as Zhang Wen, then Yao sis wouldn't like him. Chapter 671. What are you guys doing? Mengyao felt a chill on her body when she woke up. She quickly reached her hand out and realized that she was naked. He was furious. Shu, what did you do? Oh Yao sis, you're awake. Yushu giggled as she looked at Mengyao. Shield bro and I are going to treat you. Don't move, we're going to start. You. Mengyao was embarrassed and angry at the same time, but there was nothing she could do. She was already naked and Lin Yi had probably seen everything. Mengyao was a little depressed. Although the reason Yushu gave was barely enough to deceive herself, shouldn't she at least give herself some time to think and accept it? Taking off her clothes just like that wasn't very nice. Yao, you might feel pain and fatigue when I perform acupuncture later. But you have to hold it in and don't move. Lin Yi didn't let the two continue arguing. He started talking about the things to pay attention to during acupuncture. Mengyao had no choice but to accept reality. She felt a little better when she saw that Lin Yi wasn't looking at her like a pervert. Instead, he was talking to her like a real doctor. You'll feel the urge to pee later. I'm forcing all the toxins in your body into your excretory system. Lin Yi continued. But you have to hold it in. Don't pee directly. Only tell me when you can't take it anymore. Ah. Oh. Mingyao's face reddened instantly. How could she not be shy when talking about sex with Lin Yi? But she knew that Lin Yi was treating her, so she only nodded to show that she understood. Shu, when Yao can't hold it anymore, use the disposable cup over there to collect the urine. Lin Yi pointed at the surgical equipment. Oh, can't I just pee on the floor? It's nothing, right? Yushu looked at the disposable cup. She felt that this was a difficult task. Could she complete it? I need to make an antidote based on the poison in Yao's urine. There are still 27 unconscious students. I can't just leave them like that. Lin Yi said. Whether it's for Grandpa Guan's request or for Uncle Chu's company's reputation, I have to cure those 27 students. Oh, I know. Yushu nodded. Yeah, sis, you have to tell me when you need to pee later. I'll go get the cups. Mengyao was very shy. She wanted to crawl into a hole and hide herself, especially when she heard that Lin Yi was going to study her urine. But she was touched when Lin Yi said that it was for her father's company's reputation. Not only did he have to save himself, but he also had to save the remaining 27 students for the sake of his father's company's reputation. Lin Yi was just a shield that she hired. There was no need for him to do so much. He was only getting 30,000 yuan a month, but he was doing so many things that were beyond his salary. Whether it was her or Shu, Lin Yi would be the first one to appear if something happened. He seemed to be able to do anything. He was like an omnipotent babysitter. As long as Lin Yi appeared, she and Shu would be at ease. This was no longer the responsibility of a follower. Mengyao didn't know how to thank Lin Yi. At this moment, she would rather not have this employer-employee relationship with Lin Yi. Instead, they would be friends. However, if they were just friends, would Lin Yi care about her? Did he really treat her as his friend? Lin Yi naturally didn't know that the miss was worrying. He took out the silver needles and sterilized them with alcohol. He then said to Mengyao, "Get ready." Mengyao responded. At this time, Yushu also took out a disposable cup and waited at the side. Lin Yi walked around Mengyao, trying to find a more comfortable position for him to apply the needles. However, no matter which side he stood on, it didn't feel right. This was because when Lin Yi used one hand to apply the needles, the other hand had to hold Mengyao's hand and transfer the energy from his body to her. So, no matter if Lin Yi stood on the left or right side of Mengyao, it would be a hindrance. "Can you split your legs and let me stand between your legs?" Lin Yi hesitated and suggested to Mengyao. This was the only way it would be more convenient for Lin Yi to hold Mengyao's hand while he applied the needles. However, this position was too ambiguous. Mengyao didn't wear clothes and split her legs, letting Lin Yi stand between her legs. It was like a man on top of a woman in a sport. Mengyao was startled. She was about to agree when she thought of this ambiguous position. Her face turned red instantly. She didn't know if Lin Yi did it on purpose. Why would he suggest such an embarrassing suggestion? However, Mengyao didn't believe that Lin Yi was a shameless person. If Lin Yi really wanted to do something to her, he had plenty of opportunities to peek at her in the villa. However, he didn't do that. This was also why Mengyao didn't have to worry about Lin Yi. Besides, if Lin Yi really had such dirty thoughts, Mengyao would be happy even if she was angry and embarrassed. She felt that Lin Yi finally understood that there was a girl better than Tang Yin in the house. "Yeah." Mengyao replied weakly. She knew that there had to be a reason for the suggestion, so she didn't ask any more questions. She closed her eyes, her body trembling as she spread her legs apart. "Okay, let's get ready." Lin Yi tried his best not to look sideways. He didn't want to see things that he shouldn't see. He walked over and stood between Mengyao's legs. Yushu looked at Lin Yi and Mengyao curiously. Why were they in such a weird position? It seemed like they were doing something. Yushu suddenly realized something. She couldn't help but exclaim, "Shield bro Yao Yao, are you guys going to have sex?" Mengyao's face darkened at Yushu's shout, and her body tensed up involuntarily. She pulled her legs in, clamping onto Lin Yi's thighs, but quickly pulled them apart upon contact. She'd done something so shameful. How was she supposed to live in the future? Chapter 672. Hold it in. Oh. Yushu shut her mouth quickly, not daring to say anything more after seeing the seriousness in the guy's voice. Let's see if I can get Lin Yi to do it one day. Lin Yi reached out with his left hand and held onto Mengyao's right wrist as he started channeling the art of dragon mastery. Lin Yi could feel the energy in his body flowing into Mengyao's body once more. In just a short while, half of the energy he had sent into Mengyao's body was gone. This was the first time Lin Yi had transferred energy into Mengyao's body when she was awake. Mengyao felt the same. She felt a warm current flowing into her body through Lin Yi's hand, and as the warm current flowed into her body, her tired body became energetic again. Mengyao's eyes lit up. Lin Yi was not a normal person after all. She didn't know where her daddy found a person like him, but he was unbelievably strong. Would someone like him become her follower just for 30,000 kwai? But before she could think about it, the needle in Lin Yi's hand had already pierced into Ming Yao's body. The long needle went in with a flash and Ming Yao's heart skipped a beat as she watched, but she didn't feel any pain. Ming Yao calmed down a little, relieved from her fear. You'll feel hot all over, it's normal. Don't be nervous. Lin Yi said as he quickly inserted the needle into Ming Yao's body. Yeah, it's a little hot. Ming Yao saw the serious expression on Lin Yi's face and couldn't help but let go of her shyness. She tried her best to cooperate with Lin Yi. After all, Lin Yi was busy for her. Yushu, on the other hand, opened her eyes wide and stared at Ming Yao. Oh, Yao Yao, your skin's turning red like a lobster? If you stop messing around. Ming Yao glared at Yushu. Don't distract Lin Yi. Ming Yao was infuriated. Lin Yi's eyes subconsciously moved to her body after Yushu said that, making Ming Yao very embarrassed. Sorry. Yushu blinked, embarrassed. Shield bro, you don't have to look at Yao Yao's body anymore, okay? You'll have plenty of chances to look at it later. Right now, the first task is to cure Yao Yao sis, or else when Yao Yao sis dies, you won't be able to see it. Yushu. Meng Yao really wanted to kick Yushu into space if she wasn't lying on the bed. Let her go provoke the aliens. Oh, I don't know anything and I didn't say anything. Yushu quickly shut up. Lin Yi couldn't help but laugh. This pair of sisters was really interesting, but he had to admit that Yushu and Yao Yao's relationship was really good. When Yao Yao was unconscious, Yushu was the most nervous one, but now that Meng Yao could be saved, she started to laugh and joke around. Yao Yao, I want to feel the temperature under your armpit. This was Lin Yi's first time forcing poison out of someone, and it was a normal person at that. One could imagine how difficult it was. So every step Lin Yi was extremely careful, not daring to make a single mistake. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Okay. Meng Yao pursed her lips. Although she was shy, she still nodded. Lin Yi stretched out his right hand and touched Meng Yao's armpit, but the moment his hand touched Meng Yao's body, Meng Yao shivered subconsciously and moved her arm, squeezing Lin Yi's hand to the side of her chest. Lin Yi felt a burst of softness. It was very comfortable. Meng Yao's chest wasn't very big, it could even be said to be a little small, but a girl who was still in puberty couldn't use this as a standard. Maybe it would grow bigger in the future, but he had to admit that it felt good. Although Lin Yi was a little reluctant to move his hand away, he still resisted the urge to touch further. Once again he reached his hand to Meng Yao's armpit, feeling the temperature of Meng Yao's body. And it should be about time we can proceed to the next step. Yushu's mouth moved. She wanted to say something, but after seeing Yao Yao's murderous gaze, she shut her mouth. Okay, we can proceed to the next step. Lin Yi put away the silver needles on Meng Yao's body and then quickly inserted the silver needles on a few acupoints. You will feel a very strong pain later. This is the pure qi in your body forcing the poison together, forcing it into your excretion system. You have to endure it. If it is too painful, you can shout out. Meng Yao nodded and said firmly, I can endure it. After a while, Meng Yao's face contorted into a painful grin. She felt as if there were ants crawling into her body. These ants seemed to be moving something from her body towards her abdomen. This feeling was painful and itchy. It was very uncomfortable. She wanted to use her hands to scratch, but one of her hands was grabbed by Lin Yi, and the other didn't dare to move. She could only grit her teeth and endure it silently. Ju, go grab Yao Yao's hand. Lin Yi could see Meng Yao's pain. How painful this pain was, Lin Yi couldn't remember because the last time Lin Yi was poisoned was more than 10 years ago. But to Lin Yi, this pain to Lin Yi was nothing compared to the old man's torture. Oh, okay. Yushu quickly grabbed Meng Yao's left hand, said, Yao Yao, if you feel uncomfortable, you can squeeze my hand. I'm not afraid of pain. Ha. Meng Yao looked at Shu and forced a smile. I'm fine, it's not painful, I can endure it. However, anyone who saw Meng Yao's expression could tell that she was reluctant, because her expression betrayed her. She's fine, Lin Yi said faintly. I could endure this pain even when I was 9, not to mention she's already 19. Meng Yao was a little annoyed. I'm a girl, okay? But thinking that although Lin Yi was a boy, he could endure it even when he was 9, he was still a kid at that time. He was even worse than a kid. So, Meng Yao clenched her teeth. No, I have to endure it. How can I lose to a kid? Actually, Lin Yi said it on purpose to motivate Meng Yao. Otherwise, Meng Yao wouldn't be able to endure it. I need to pee. Meng Yao finally had the urge to pee and said quickly. Chapter 673. It's raining again. Hey, I'll hold it in. Meng Yao of course wouldn't let Lin Yi's efforts go to waste. Lin Yi's left hand continued to transfer energy as his right hand kept changing the acupuncture points. Meng Yao's face was getting paler and paler, and the sweat on her forehead was getting thicker and thicker. It was obvious that she was in pain. Yao sis, you can do it. You're the best. You've always been Shu's idol. Yushu held Meng Yao's hand tightly as she cheered. Yeah. Meng Yao smiled bitterly as her voice changed. Shu, I'm in so much pain. I know. If I could replace you, I'd rather suffer for you. Yushu said from the bottom of her heart. Ha, why would I let you suffer for me? It's lucky that I'm the one poisoned this time, not you. Meng Yao smiled. Don't worry, I'm not that weak. It's painful, but I can hold on. Lin Yi had Yushu stay here for this reason. Yushu could talk to Meng Yao without listening and cheer her on. She could also let Meng Yao hold on. Otherwise, Lin Yi really wouldn't know how to persuade Meng Yao. Meng Yao's need to pee was getting stronger and stronger, but she remembered Lin Yi's words. He couldn't just pee out easily. What if the poison couldn't be expelled? Not only would Lin Yi's efforts go to waste, but she'd also suffer for nothing. So Meng Yao endured and endured, but there was a limit to how much she could endure. Finally, Meng Yao couldn't hold it in anymore. I can't hold it in anymore, Shu. Quick. Oh, I'm coming. Yushu had put the disposable cup aside in order to hold Meng Yao's hand. She was panicking, but she couldn't find it. Where's the cup? Where's the cup? Where did I put it? Quick, Shu. I can't hold it in anymore. Meng Yao thought that Shu would come over with the cup after she talked to her, but Yushu lost it. Wasn't she just hurting herself? Found it. I'm coming. Yushu finally saw the disposable cup on the ground behind her. He picked it up and ran over. Lin Yi, on the other hand, let go of Meng Yao's hand and stepped back after inserting the last needle. I can't take it anymore. Meng Yao was on the verge of bursting into tears. How could she hold it in any longer? He didn't care if Shu came or not, and he peed right away. Lin Yi had just taken 2 steps back when he felt a stream of water falling from the sky, drenching his head and face. Meng Yao, on the other hand, was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to hide in when she realized that she had sprayed all over Lin Yi's face and body. He hated Shu to the core. How could she drop the ball at such a crucial moment? Meng Yao wanted to hold it back, but how could she? Once released, it would be like a flood bursting through a dam. He had already endured it for a long time. Lin Yi was also dumbfounded by this sudden scene. He stood there in a daze, staring at the miss with his mouth agape. Get out of the way. Meng Yao panicked. She saw that Lin Yi was still standing there, staring at her without blinking. Meng Yao almost fainted. Ugh. Lin Yi came back to his senses and quickly dodged to the side, smiling bitterly. This really was an eye for an eye. He had drenched Pin Liang, Xiaofu and Xiao Xiao, and now it was the mist's turn to drench him. But that moment seemed pretty exciting. Lin Yi's heart couldn't help but skip a beat. He remembered a scene he saw in a movie. Why did it sound like a legendary scene? Yushu too was dumbfounded. She didn't expect Lin Yi to get drenched. When she turned around, she quickly ran to Meng Yao's side and helped her catch the urine. Oh, it's raining in the operating room too. Yao sis, you're so awesome. Meng Yao didn't expect Yushu to still be in the mood to tease her. She glared at her, not in a good mood. Why didn't it kill you? Oh, I don't mind, it's fine, Yushu said nonchalantly. Look, Yao, it's all over me too. Shu, you don't have to answer it. Lin Yi said to Yushu, shaking off the unhealthy thoughts in his head. You don't have to? Yushu blinked. Yeah. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I was going to catch some urine to check if there's any poison in it, but it's much easier now. I'll just put it in my mouth. I already know what the poison is. Lin Yi didn't think that he had any perverted tendencies or hobbies, but he didn't feel any disgust when he said it. Was it because she was the miss? Or was it because he had other intentions towards her? Meng Yao wanted to dig a hole and hide in it after hearing Lin Yi say that he put the urine in his mouth. It was over, it was really over now. Why was she so useless? Couldn't she hold it in a little longer and wait for Shu to come? How was she going to face Lin Yi in the future? How was she going to get along with him? Wow, Shield Bro is so amazing, he knew what the poison was just by tasting it. Yushu tossed the disposable cup on the ground when she heard that she didn't have to take it anymore, and the pee splattered all over the floor. Meng Yao was speechless. Couldn't Shu be cleaner? How could she just throw it on the ground? But when she remembered that she had wet the entire operating room, she understood Shu's actions. Since it was the same no matter where she put it, she might as well throw it on the ground. I'll go out first, Yao Yao should be fine now. Lin Yi saw Ming Yao's awkwardness and decided to leave the operating room first. Shu, help Yao Yao get dressed when she's done resting. Okay. Yushu nodded. Meng Yao wanted to say thank you but she couldn't say it. She really didn't know how to face Lin Yi. She really didn't know. Lin Yi casually wiped his wet hair. Fortunately there wasn't any weird smell. Otherwise, Lin Yi would be embarrassed when he went out. Lin Yi opened the door of the operating room and walked out quickly. He didn't wait for Ping Zhan and Xu Amin to see what was going on inside before he closed the door. In fact, even if they could see clearly, they wouldn't be able to see Meng Yao. There was a screen beside the bed in the operating room. Lin Yi, Peng Zhan and Xu Amin came up at the same time, looking at Lin Yi expectantly. Chapter 674. Poison prescription. This is great, this is great. Peng Zhan was overjoyed after hearing Lin Yi's words. He wanted to rush into the surgery room immediately but Lin Yi stopped him. Although Peng Zhan and Meng Yao were father and daughter, Meng Yao was already a grown-up. It wouldn't be appropriate for Peng Zhan to see her naked. The most important thing is, Peng Zhan will definitely know that he also saw Yao Yao who was not wearing any clothes. Uncle Chu, please don't go in yet. Meng Yao is still a little weak. Why don't you wait for her outside the surgery room? Lin Yi said. I'm sorry, I was too rash. Peng Zhan quickly nodded and stopped in his tracks. Miracle doctor, have you cured Meng Yao? Can you take a look at my child now? Yes, godly doctor, I beg you, can you save him now? The parents were overjoyed when they heard Lin Yi say that Meng Yao was fine. They didn't dare to interrupt because they didn't want to piss Lin Yi off when he was talking to Peng Zhan. Now that Lin Yi was done talking, they started asking questions. Lin Yi looked at the parents. He could understand their feelings, but Lin Yi really didn't have the time to cure them one by one. First of all, he was tired and there were female students among them. Lin Yi wasn't familiar with them and he couldn't just ask them to take off their clothes one by one, could he? Besides, it'd be disgusting if he got pee all over them. Lin Yi didn't have any bad feelings towards the miss, but Lin Yi didn't like it when it came to the others. I'll save them, but I've used up the antidote. I need to discuss it with Grandpa Guan and come up with some more. Lin Yi said to the parents before turning to Xu Amin. Grandpa Guan, let's talk somewhere with fewer people. Lin Yi's words were half-truths and the parents couldn't help but believe him. They were very happy that Lin Yi was willing to save their children, but they were still worried when they heard that the antidote was gone. But since Lin Yi promised to make some more, he wouldn't lie to them. Alright. Xu Amin was overjoyed. Lin Yi probably knew how to cure the poison, but he couldn't say it in front of the parents. Lin Yi and Xu Amin came to the isolation room where Meng Yao was. Lin Yi closed the door and said to Xu Amin, it's indeed an ancient poison called deadly 7 herbs poison. The antidote was lost in the Ming dynasty, but the Tang sect collected it again at the end of the Qing dynasty and made a new antidote. Although the effect isn't immediate, it can be cured within 3 days if you increase the dosage. After a month of rest, you'll be no different from a normal person. Lin Yi didn't waste any time and told them what he knew. Deadly 7 herbs poison. Xu Amin's eyes widened in shock. There's still someone who knows the recipe of this poison? From Xu Amin's point of view, this deadly 7 herbs poison was a legendary existence. All the parents were shocked when they heard Peng Zhan's words. They didn't expect Peng Zhan to say this, but they thought that maybe it was because Lin Yi saved Meng Yao's life, so Peng Zhan was happy that he made this promise to Lin Yi. However, in order to prevent the remaining members of the kidney trafficking organization from doing anything harmful to you, we will be at the hospital 24 hours to protect your safety. Zhang Wen rolled his eyes and fainted on the spot. His kidney was cut off and the kidney trafficking organization was destroyed. How could Zhang Wen not faint? Sir, what's wrong? Zhang Juli was shocked. He thought that Zhang Wen's body was weak. He quickly pressed the button to call the doctor and get the doctor to save Zhang Wen. Kong Mingming got to know Guan Exin after the coincidental meeting at the bookstore. However, because of Lin Yi's appearance, he lost a lot of face. This made Kong Mingming very unhappy, but he couldn't do anything about it. This afternoon, Kong Mingming came to the Songshan First Hospital with a bouquet of flowers. However, he didn't go to Guan Exin directly. Instead he walked around the hospital a few times and let everyone see him. Even Guan Xan, who was in the office, saw him. Only then did he create a coincidental meeting. What a coincidence, Guan Xan, you are here. Kong Mingming welcomed her with a smile. Chapter 676. Bad start, ha yeah. Kong Mingming saw Guan Xian's expression and knew that she misunderstood that he was going around the hospital to create a chance encounter. He quickly explained, I'm here to visit a friend today, he's in the hospital but I couldn't find him. I called him just now and found out that he was discharged already. I was wondering why I couldn't find him. Oh, I see. Then go visit your friend, I have to work. Guan Xan clearly didn't want to talk to Kong Mingming anymore. Yeah, I'm going now. Oh right, take this bouquet of flowers, it's not convenient for me to bring them around. Kong Mingming handed the bouquet of flowers to Guan Xan. You're visiting a patient buying roses? Guan Xan wasn't stupid. Why would she believe Kong Mingming's bullshit? It's a female patient. Kong Mingming blinked, but he reacted quickly and changed his words. A female patient buying roses? Your girlfriend, right? Guan Xan smiled. Huh. Kong Mingming didn't expect Guan Xan to be able to find flaws in his words despite her meek appearance. It was the same in the bookstore and it was the same now. It seemed like this girl wasn't going to be easy to pick up. It was going to be difficult. What girlfriend? She's my bro's girlfriend, I'm actually here on his behalf. Kong Xiaoming had an idea and said, actually it's like this. My bro got into a fight with his girlfriend and she got so mad that she left the house. She stayed outside for a whole night and caught a cold. My bro wanted to apologize, but he couldn't let go of his pride, so he asked me to come and apologize on his behalf. I didn't think that the couple would have already made up when I called. I came here for nothing. Kong Xiaoming felt that the reason he came up with was very powerful. He was a genius. Oh, since you don't need this flower anymore, I'll help you put it in the hospital vase. Guan Xan knew that if she didn't accept the flowers, Kong Mingming wouldn't stop. So she took the roses from Kong Mingming and put them in a vase in the hallway. Kong Xiaoming saw that things had reached this point and there was nothing he could do. He could only say bitterly, that's right, it's pretty here. Guan Xan, I'll be leaving now. Keep in touch. Goodbye. Guan Xan nodded and went back to her office. Guan Xan felt that she shouldn't have gone to the washroom. She didn't want to meet Kong Xiaoming, this annoying person. Kong Mingming sighed. He felt like he should change his approach. Guan Xan was different from the other girls. Based on Kong Xiaoming's previous experience, girls who had never had a boyfriend before were very innocent and easy to get. But with Guan Xan he ran into a wall. After Kong Mingming left, a nurse who was close to Guan Xan, Li Xiaomei, looked at the roses in the hallway and curled her lips. He's so rich. 99 roses, that's at least 300 kuai, and he just threw it away like that. It's his money, what does it have to do with us? Guan Xan smiled. Why do you like it? Introduce me to you? Forget it, even though I dream of finding a rich man, he's obviously not my type. He's a playboy and he probably ditches women after he's done with them. How can I give myself to him? Li Xiaomei obviously didn't care about Kong Mingming. Li Xiaomei knew her place. Even though she was pretty, there was still a huge gap between her and Guan Xan. She also knew that she wouldn't catch the eye of a rich man like Guan Xan. Instead of being played for free, she'd rather find a rich man who could support her for the rest of her life. Guan Xan didn't agree or disagree with Li Xiaomei's dream. Everyone had their own life, and Li Xiaomei's family wasn't well off. It was normal for her to want to find a rich man to support her for the rest of her life. If he wanted to find someone he truly loved, that was also his freedom. So, if even you can tell he's not a good person, then why should I still take his flowers? Guan Xan shook her head. Alright, let's get back to work. You'll get scolded when the head nurse gets here. You're the daughter of a rich family, who would dare scold you? Do you want to stay here or not? Li Xiaomei and Guan Xan were classmates when they were in school, so she knew a little about Guan Xian's family background. She knew that Guan Xian's father was a major shareholder of the hospital, and her grandfather was the famous miracle Dr. Guan. No one knows who I am, and even if they do, it's not like I'm special. Guan Xan said as she started to work. If you don't want your bonus, then go back to daydreaming. Alright, I'm coming. Li Xiaomei quickly followed Guan Xan. Before I find a rich man, I still care about the bonus. Kang Mingming gloomily walked out of the hospital and got into a Porsche Cayenne. His two lackeys Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubing were in the car. Master Ming, how was it? Did you give the flowers away? Zhu Xiaozhang asked. Xiaozhang, aren't you asking a question you already know the answer to? Didn't you see that Master Ming came back empty-handed? He must have given them away. Wang Shubing said, fuck, don't talk about it. Another fucking bad start. Kang Mingming waved his hand in annoyance and sat in the front passenger seat. What's wrong, Master Ming? Her flowers. Zhu Xiaozhang saw Kang Mingming was cursing and he couldn't help but be stunned. I did give the flowers away to the hospital. Kang Mingming was very annoyed. This girl isn't easy to hook. She's a fucking smart person. She looks gentle and soft, but she's actually very smart. Damn, she sent me back, and the flowers were directly placed in the vase in the corridor of the hospital. Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubing heard this and couldn't help but look at each other. Originally, they thought that if Kang Mingming made a move, wouldn't it be a piece of cake? They didn't expect to have two consecutive bad starts. Next time looks like we have to use a different method to get close to her. The current coincidental encounter is too low level, we can't fool her. Kang Mingming waved his hand and said, let's think about it and see if there are any good ideas. Let's all brainstorm and come up with an idea. Didn't we use money to pick up girls in the past? Zhu Xiaozhang thought hard, but he couldn't come up with a good plan. He was usually very arrogant and straightforward, so there were a lot of gold diggers who fooled around with him. Chapter 677. Tank Top Bro, this. Ming bro, I have an idea. Wang Shubing, who had been quiet all this time, finally spoke. But I'm afraid that you'll have to suffer a bit. You have an idea? Hurry up and tell me. If it's really useful, I'm willing to suffer a bit. Although Kang Xiaoming didn't like to suffer, from his point of view, hitting on girls was to have fun. If he suffered, then how would he be able to hit on girls? Wasn't that just asking for trouble? He'd rather not hit on girls. He had plenty of targets anyway, and it wasn't like he didn't have any. But Guan Xin was different. Hitting on Guan Xin and getting the secret recipe from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was Kang Mingming's current mission. Whether or not he could get a good position in the family depended on this one move. Although Xiaolong didn't show much hostility towards Kang Mingming, Kang Ming knew that if he kept being useless, Xiaolong wouldn't be nice to him after his grandpa died. Master Ming, think about it. Guan Xin is a nurse at Songshan Songshan First Hospital, right? Wang Shubing started to analyze. Isn't that obvious? Why are you asking when you already know the answer? Kang Mingming wasn't too happy. Of course she's a nurse at Songshan First Hospital. Didn't I tell you before? Young Master Ming, let me finish speaking. Wang Shubing said, Guan Xin is a nurse at Songshan First Hospital. Then tell me, who is the person she interacts with the most? Doctor? Kang Mingming thought about it and said, damn, you're not thinking of making me a doctor, are you? I'm not interested in that. Young Master Ming, how can you become a doctor in one day? Wang Shubing smiled bitterly. This is a terrible idea, and it's not something that I, strategist Wang, would come up with. Then what do you mean? Kang Mingming relaxed when he heard that he wasn't going to be a doctor. Patients. Of course, nurses have the most contact with patients every day, so I want you to be the patient. Wang Shubing said. You want me to pretend to be sick and get close to Guan Xin? Kang Mingming's eyes lit up. This was a great idea, why didn't he think of it before? If he became a patient, wouldn't he be able to interact with Guan Xin every day? He can't pretend to be sick. Like you said, Guan Xin isn't stupid. She'll be able to tell if you're pretending to be sick. Wang Shubing waved his hand and said, if you want to be sick, then you have to be really sick. This is why I said you have to suffer a little. Really sick? That's a good idea. Xiaoming nodded. Then how do you think I should get sick? Well, normally if you have a normal fever you can stay in the hospital. As long as you're willing to pay, there's no reason for the hospital to refuse, right? Okay, then I'll have a fever and a cold. This is easier. Other diseases, even if I want to, are not easy to get. Kang Mingming also felt that the only way to get close to Guan Xin was if he stayed in the hospital. But it's not easy to catch a cold today, is it? Kang Mingming looked at the sunny sky outside the car window. The weather in April was already very hot. It didn't seem easy to catch a cold. That's why we have to suffer a little. Wang Shubing said, I know there's an ice hockey rink nearby. Master Ming, let's go sit there? Fine. Kong Ming gritted his teeth. For the sake of picking up girls, for the sake of his family's status, he would endure it. He had to succeed this time. So what if he suffered a little? As a result, Kong Ming and his team arrived at the ice hockey arena. Under everyone's astonished gaze, they walked into the ice rink. Zhu Xiaozhong and Wang Shubing both wore thick, warm ice hockey jerseys. Kong Ming, on the other hand, wore a short-sleeved tank top and shorts. He gritted his teeth as he sat in the audience seats. Damn, man. The people in the arena saw Kong Ming's outfit and couldn't help but exclaim, Isn't he too awesome? He's a tank top bro. A girl took out her phone and was about to take a photo of Kong Ming and post it on the internet. A new generation of bro was born. Kong Ming was originally shivering in the cold, but hearing the people in the arena praise him, Kong Ming's vanity was immediately satisfied. He even did a pose with the girl who took the photo. Look at him, his body is so healthy. He's wearing a tank top and shorts here. A bespectacled man said enviously, We can't do it. Our bodies are weak after playing too much with women. We can't stand the cold. Kong Ming was proud of himself. He thought to himself, I've played with a lot of women, but look at me, I'm a legend. Kong Ming was feeling proud of himself. Suddenly he felt a chill and couldn't help but sneeze. Ah! His mucus also sprayed out, smearing everywhere. It was sticky and disgusting. Fuck, he's not a tough guy but a pretentious guy. I thought he wasn't cold. The person who sighed before couldn't help but despise Kong Ming when he heard him sneeze. The expression of the young lady who was taking pictures with her phone suddenly became interesting. It seemed that tank top bro was going to become pretentious bro or pervert bro. As for the bespectacled man, he looked at Kong Ming sympathetically and said, Bro, are you worse than me? I didn't even sneeze when I'm so weak. Aren't you too lame? Kong Ming was instantly embarrassed and angry. His face turned red but he couldn't refute. Zhu Xiaozhong on the other hand couldn't stand it anymore. He stood up and pointed at the people who were talking. He shouted arrogantly, What the fuck are you looking at? Have you never seen cultivation before? Master Ming came here to cultivate. What do you people know? Cultivation? He came here to cultivate with mucus coming out of his nose. Was there something wrong with his brain? Those people shook their heads speechlessly and ignored Kong Ming. Although Kong Ming lost face, he thought of his plan to pick up girls. He had to persevere. He couldn't give up halfway. He had to cultivate until he caught a cold. Ah! Kong Ming sneezed again. The media in Songshan under the lead of the dire wolf was almost one-sided. They were all attacking Songshan's first school, describing it as the devil's first school. In fact, other than the interview with the dire wolf, Chu Pingzhan and Ding Binggong didn't face any media again. Even if the media wanted to enter the emergency room, they wouldn't get permission from the hospital. So the latest development of the matter was unknown to the media. Chapter 678. Press conference. After all, the power of the media was terrifying. It could sway a lot of people who didn't know the truth, and these people would rather believe it than not. Since the school was so scary, who would dare to let their children continue to study here? However, at this critical moment, the CEO of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, Lai Changyi, called for an emergency press conference. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company had been the focus of the media and the public ever since it was established. Although the Miracle Dr. Guan medical company's Miracle Dr. Guan Injury Medicine wasn't officially on the market yet, the company's name was already very famous. There was no other reason. Although the news of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company's outstanding performance at Yanjing's house use auction was only spread among the noble houses and wealthy merchants, the all-pervasive media quickly got wind of it and reported on Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company continuously. There was no lack of rumors, such as the fact that Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company had mastered the technology to bring the dead back to life. Of course, these were all derived from the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. But Fatty Lai didn't go out to refute the rumors because these reports were all rumors. With this hype, he didn't even need to advertise himself, and directly hyped up the name of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. So when Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company called for an emergency press conference, All the media in Songshan sent their reporters to the press conference as soon as they received the news. Although the media's attention was on the fainting incident of Songshan's first school, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company's press conference was also very important. The media that didn't take the lead in the fainting incident focused their attention on this press conference, hoping to get some first-hand information from the press conference. The press conference was held in Fatty Lai's newly built skyscraper, which would become the headquarters of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. The building and trading company downstairs were also contributed by Fatty Lai for free, and merged into Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. The construction company would be responsible for the construction of the factory, and the trading company would be responsible for the sales of the produced medicine. Fatty Lai's wife was a little reluctant to give away all of his assets, but Fatty Lai didn't care about his wife's opinion at all. From his perspective, his wife had long hair but short brains. How was this even possible? If he followed Lin Yi in the future, what else could he not want? Lin Yi's medical skills were superb. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he could bring the dead back to life. As his follower, how could Fatty Lai not benefit from it? Fatty Lai felt a sense of satisfaction he had never felt before as he looked at the packed press area. Back when he was running his company, he'd probably have to bribe some reporters to attend his press conference, and the number was only a third of what it was now. But now he didn't need to invest anything. All he needed to do was release a piece of news and these reporters came to him. It couldn't be helped, Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine company's product wasn't even on the market yet, but they already had a name. Thank you for joining the press conference of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. I am Lai Changyi. Fatty Lai walked up to the stage with a smile on his face. The main topic of this press conference is the mass coma incident in Songshan First School. If you are here for our company's new product, I'm afraid you will be disappointed. The reporters were stunned by Fatty Lai's words. Why was it Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company's turn to hold a press conference for the fainting incident of the Songshan First School? Even if there was a press conference, it should be held by Songshan First School or Pingzhan Industries, right? Or it could be the police. But Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was the only company that had nothing to do with this incident. Why would they hold a press conference to release news related to the fainting incident of the Songshan First School? No matter how they looked at it, the reporters found it strange. Although it was strange, they were still very excited. Not only were they not disappointed, they were glad that they came to the right place. Because the fainting incident of the Songshan First School was the headline of all the media, they were all trying to find out the truth behind the incident. Fatty Lai's press conference was related to this incident. How could they not be happy? First of all, I want to say that the rumors in the society are not true. What terrifying school's unknown virus base? It's all nonsense. Fatty Lai knew about the relationship between Lin Yi and Miss Chu, so he held this press conference not only to promote his Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, but also to restore the Songshan First School's reputation. Fatty Lai's words made the reporters below the stage blush with shame. They had also published reports like terrifying campus biochemical base with unknown virus before, but they were just following the trend. Fatty Lai's denial of the news made the reporters perk up. After our Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company's clinical research and analysis, we have found the cause of the fainting students. It's confirmed that it's caused by poison. Fatty Lai's words shocked all the reporters present. Didn't the hospital say that it wasn't poison? And they couldn't find the cause of the fainting? A reporter below the stage couldn't help but ask. Indeed, if we used normal methods, we wouldn't be able to find the cause of the fainting. Because the poison that these students were poisoned with is an extremely rare 1,000-year poison. Fatty Lai said, everyone knows that our Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company is a company dedicated to medical research and development. Whether it's the researchability or the team of experts, they are all internationally advanced. Therefore, after the unremitting efforts of our team of experts, we finally analyzed that this 1,000-year-old poison is a kind of strong poison made from 7 kinds of Chinese herbs. It is called deadly 7 herbs poison, a kind of 1,000-year-old poison that has been lost for thousands of years. After this poison is consumed, it will be absorbed by the body quickly, and then it will destroy the body's physiological functions. If we don't treat them in time, they will die in at most 3 days. This poison is made from pure Chinese herbs, It's very difficult to detect it using normal chemical methods, so this is why the hospital didn't detect it before. Because the smell of many Chinese herbs is similar to seasoning, it won't arouse suspicion. Chapter 679. Fatty Lie seizes the opportunity. Deadly 7 herbs poison. Millennium poison. Can't detect it? It's similar to seasoning? The reporters gasped in shock. Fatty Lie's words were a little too inconceivable and they couldn't accept it for a while. Wasn't this too unbelievable? He even brought out the 1,000-year poison? Are you serious? If it's a millennium poison, then why don't people know about it? How did you analyze it? A reporter began to ask questions. This reporter was in cahoots with Dire Wolf. He was Dire Wolf's underling. The Dire Wolf was busy following up on the fainting incident, and this press conference was attended by his follower. I've said it before, this millennium poison is lost, which means that no one knows the recipe. Only the main ingredients are recorded in ancient books. Fatty Lie started blabbering again. We analyzed the 7 herbs and compared them to the main ingredients, and finally confirmed that it's the lost deadly 7 herbs poison. Oh? Then what are the 7 herbs? If it's lost, then why would someone poison it? The follower didn't want the public's opinion to change, so he started asking sharp questions. I'm sorry, but we can't provide the recipe. First, it involves the company's confidentiality, and second, if we announce the recipe, what if someone with bad intentions uses it? Fatty Lie smiled. But we've already submitted the recipe to the Songshan police. As for why someone would poison it after it's lost, that's for the police to investigate. We're just a medical company and this isn't our business scope. Fatty Lie's words made the reporters below the stage burst into laughter, but the Dire Wolf follower was furious. He panicked. Don't tell me that you made up a poison just to get famous? Saying that it's a millennium poison is just an excuse for Songshan's first school, and also for your own fame. Can you cure this millennium poison? If you can't cure it, then what's the point of making the recipe? Who knows if it's real or fake? Although the words of Deadly Wolf's underling were impolite, he also asked the question in the minds of many reporters present. In fact, they also had doubts about the authenticity of this deadly 7 herbs poison. After all, this matter was somewhat unbelievable. It was beyond the normal acceptable range. The 1,000-year-old poison was a bit too far away from real life. Therefore, although the question of crippled Wolf's underling was a bit impolite, it did represent the thoughts of some people. Since it's a millennium poison and the recipe has been lost, how could there be an antidote? Fatty Lie smiled, pausing on purpose. If that's the case, then you admit that you're using this opportunity to create hype? The follower's eyes lit up as he continued. I didn't say that. I'm just saying that since there's no poison recipe in the ancient books, naturally there's no antidote recipe. Fatty Lie made a calming expression and continued. But although we don't have the antidote formula right now, the experts of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company have worked tirelessly, and after many experiments, we've finally created an antidote to the deadly 7 herbs poison. Right now the factory is working overtime to create the antidote. We'll be able to mass produce it tomorrow morning and use it on the fainted students. Wadash, even the follower and all the reporters were in an uproar. They really made an antidote? They weren't trying to create hype? The strange coma that even the hospital couldn't do anything about was diagnosed as a 1,000-year poison by Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Not only that, they even created an antidote for it. This Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was, just as the rumors said, too magical. Of course, this antidote isn't our company's product. It's specially made for this poisoning incident, and we're not going to charge a single cent for it. Fatty Lie said, we're giving it to the unconscious students for free. This is also the social responsibility of every medical company. Earning money is secondary, saving lives is the first priority. Fatty Lie's words made the reporters on the scene respectful. This was really a kind medical company. If it was some other black-hearted company, not only would they not give it for free, but they would also raise the price. If they sold this batch of antidote to Pingshan Industries, they would be able to sell it for a sky-high price. Everyone knew that if this incident couldn't be resolved, the biggest impact would be on Pingshan Industries' first high school, and if Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company used this opportunity to raise the price of the antidote, It wouldn't be hard for them to get a huge profit. Next, I'll announce our new product, Miracle Dr. Guan's Injury Medicine's effects and release date. After the poisoning incident, Fatty Lai naturally took the opportunity to promote his company's product. The reporters listened carefully to Fatty Lai's introduction, and they were prepared to report this incident when they got back. After the press conference of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, the situation changed drastically. The previous direction of public opinion began to change. While the media was ready to condemn the culprit, they were also full of sympathy for the first high school, and at the same time, they gave high praise to Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Even Qin Lang couldn't do anything about it. Although he accepted Seely's money, he couldn't go against the current, could he? Now that the truth was out and everyone was condemning the culprit and praising Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, Qin Lang couldn't continue to attack the first high school, could he? Even the chief editor of the newspaper asked him to draft an article to refute the previous article, denounce the culprit and praise Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. After all, he couldn't possibly go against the mainstream media, could he? Qin Lang had no choice but to call Sihua. Sihua bro, it's me Qin Lang. Sihua bro, I'm crippled wolf. Qin Lang said with a guilty conscience, I tried my best to smear the name of Songshan First School and Pingzhan Industries, but I couldn't do anything about it. That Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company is too powerful. They actually found out the reason why the students were in a coma. They said that they were poisoned by some deadly 7 herbs poison and even made the antidote. I can't lie through my teeth anymore. What? Sihua was shocked after hearing the words. What did you say? Did Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company find out why the students were unconscious? You even concocted an antidote? Chapter 680. Recovering, here's the money. Sihua didn't have the time to waste with Direwolf. He slammed his phone to the side and rushed to find Master Bing. He had to tell Master Bing this news as soon as possible. The news had spread in the media world, but normal people didn't know about it yet. Because the media needed time to write and publish the news, they were only in the preparation stage and hadn't released the news yet. The TV stations were also working overtime to edit the news and get ready to broadcast it as soon as possible. Sihua stumbled into Master Bing's room. Master Bing, it's bad, our plan failed. Master Bing was reading a novel written by Fishman II, very pure, very flirtatious prequel on his phone. It was a very enjoyable urban novel. He was imagining himself as the main character and was torturing the supporting characters when he was interrupted by Sihua. He was annoyed. What are you screaming for? What plan failed? Master Bing, Direwolf just called and said that Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company has found the cause of the student's coma. It's poisoning and they've even found the poison. It's deadly 7 herbs poison and they've made an antidote. Sihua said in a panic. Impossible. Yao Wang spoke before Master Bing could say anything. Deadly 7 herbs poison is an ancient poison and there's no antidote. Even I don't know what the antidote is. How could they have the antidote? I don't know either, Direwolf just gave me the news. Sihua was just passing on Direwolf's message. Turn on the TV and see. If it's true, there'll be news on the TV. Master Bing frowned. He had heard of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company before. It was a newly established company that was in the limelight at House Yu's auction. Could they have made an antidote? Otherwise, how would they know the poison was called deadly 7 herbs poison? Sihua heard Master Bing's words and quickly turned on the TV. It was broadcasting the news of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company's press conference. Everyone in the room was stunned when they saw Fatty Lai on the stage talking leisurely. Master Bing gritted his teeth in anger. He was overjoyed when he heard that Meng Yao was poisoned as well, but in the blink of an eye, the Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine company solved the problem and even created the antidote. Impossible, impossible. The Yao Wang's eyes widened. With a look of disbelief on his face, he said, this is a 1,000-year-old poison. There's no antidote for it. Even if they know about this poison, it's impossible for them to concoct an antidote in such a short period of time. Not even that person. The person the Medicine King was talking about was someone who had completely defeated him. He was his nightmare, but even that person couldn't create an antidote in such a short period of time. This was absolutely impossible. However, the truth was right in front of him. Yao Wang had no choice but to believe it. After all, the TV news wouldn't simply report it. If the miracle Dr. Guan's medical company didn't create an antidote and instead said that they did, it would be a huge blow to the company once this matter was exposed. This was fatal to a newly established company. Master Bing heard Yao Wang keep saying that it was impossible and he was annoyed. He frowned and said, "All right, since it doesn't work this time, we'll think of another way." Master Bing didn't expect Yao Wang to be so weak despite looking so powerful. He couldn't take a blow like this. His Qibing skyscraper had collapsed, but he didn't give up. He was still thinking of ways to deal with Lin Yi. Of course, Master Bing thought this way because he didn't understand the power of the deadly 7 herbs poison. Only Yao Wang himself knew how terrifying and powerful the deadly 7 herbs poison was. He thought that this poison would work because even he didn't have an antidote for this poison, let alone those normal hospitals. He didn't think that the miracle Dr. Guan's medical company could create an antidote for the deadly 7 herbs poison. He didn't believe it, but the truth forced him to believe it. After all, the other party did find out why the students were in a coma and pointed out the name of the deadly 7 herbs poison. In other words, the other party had a certain level of understanding towards this poison. The antidote was also real. Otherwise, no company would risk their future. The antidote had nothing to do with miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. If they couldn't do it, why would they take this job? It seemed like the other party's medical skills weren't weak. Miracle Dr. Guan Xueming. In the past, Yao Wang didn't put Guan Xueming in his eyes at all. Although he was called Miracle Doctor by the 4 big and 5 small houses, the hidden houses all had their own doctors. Yao Wang was one of House Xiao's doctors. But now Yao Wang had to take Guan Xueming seriously. Seemed like he really had some skills. "Guan Xueming, I'll remember you. I'll compete with you." When the news was broadcasted, Gao Xiaofu also knew about it. He was also dismissed from school and went home. After returning home, Gao Xiaofu was scared and excited at the same time. It was the excitement of doing something bad. It was the first time he did something so bad. He poisoned others. When he saw the ambulance send the 28 students out of the school and the hospital give them a notice of critical condition, he felt an indescribable sense of joy. But after that he was deeply worried. After all, those were 28 lives. If they died just like that, he would be the murderer. Before, the hospital couldn't find any reason. Gao Xiaofu let out a sigh of relief. Although he was the one who poisoned the students, there was no evidence. Even the hospital couldn't give an answer. He was afraid that the case would be left unsettled. But not long after, there was a company called Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company that held a press conference. Not only did they find out the reason why the students were in a coma, but they also gave the prescription of the deadly 7 herbs poison to the police. This meant that the police would start their investigation soon, and if they found out about the food in the cafeteria, they would easily suspect Pin Liang and himself. Gao Xiaofu was really anxious now. He quickly picked up his phone and dialed Zhong Pingliang's number. He had to discuss a plan with Zhong Pingliang. They couldn't wait for the police to come to their door, could they? Zhong Pingliang just had a kidney transplant. He was lying in the hospital happily enjoying the sunlight outside the window. He felt that life was beautiful. Having a kidney was good. He felt that he had regained his confidence as a man. Sihua told Fabai what Pin Liang needed to say, and Fabai calmed down after listening to Sihua. With the prescription of the deadly 7 herbs poison provided by Miracle Dr. Guan Medical Company, the police quickly found the content of the 7 herbs in the food. The person who poisoned the food was very smart. He only used one type of herb in each dish, and the herbs alone were not poisonous. In fact, when a few herbs were mixed together, they could even strengthen yang and nourish the kidneys. However, when these 7 herbs were mixed together, they could produce a deadly poison. This was also the reason why only a small number of students were poisoned. After all, there were very few students who ordered all 7 dishes and ate all of them. The rest of the students who only ate a few of the herbs would not be poisoned. After finding the source of the poison, the police sent people to the school cafeteria to investigate. Without any suspense, the suspects were Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu, who came to the cafeteria earlier in the afternoon. According to the cafeteria's chef, Only Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu touched the food in the kitchen alone. Other than them, no one else touched the food. After eliminating the possibility of the chef's motive, the police locked their targets on Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu. Zhong Pinliang didn't expect the police to react so quickly. Gao Xiaofu hadn't hung up for long and the police already came to his door. "Hello, I'm the captain of Songshan's criminal investigation team, Lu Wangli. This is my ID." Lu Wangli arrived quickly and the person who received him was Zhong Pinliang's father, Zhong Fabai. "Oh, Officer Lu, you're finally here. That's great." Zhong Fabai quickly shook Lu Wangli's hand enthusiastically. Lu Wangli was stunned. He didn't understand why Zhong Fabai was so enthusiastic. He was here to arrest his son, okay? "Mr. Zhong, why did you look forward to my arrival?" Lu Wangli asked curiously. "Is my son Pinliang. Ever since he was harmed by the kidney trafficking organization and had one of his kidneys removed, he became absent-minded and had low self-esteem. I wanted to call the police but he wouldn't agree no matter what. He was afraid that the criminals would take revenge on him after I called the police." Zhong Fabai sighed and said with pity, "I really feel sorry for my son. Since you're here, please persuade Pinliang to cooperate with you and bring the criminals to justice." Huh. Lu Wangli heard Zhong Fabai's words and was shocked speechless. He never thought that Zhong Pinliang was also a victim of the kidney trafficking organization. It seemed like things weren't as simple as he thought. Could it be that there was something else? He decided to talk to Zhong Pinliang and said, "Is that so? Where is Zhong Pinliang now?" "He's in the ward inside. He said that he was mocked and looked down on by his classmates in school. They said that he lost one of his kidneys and is no longer a real man. They said that he's a eunuch." Zhong Fabai sighed again. "They even mocked him and said that he sold his kidney to buy an iPad. Officer Lu, with our family's financial situation, do we still need to sell our kidney? I, Zhong Fabai, may not be rich but I'm the boss of an entertainment city, right? Can't I afford an iPad?" Lu Wangli said with a serious expression, "I didn't know it was poison. I really didn't know. I didn't want this to happen. I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Pinliang clutched at his hair painfully. "You didn't know it was poison? Then why don't you tell me what happened?" Lu Wangli frowned and asked. "But if I tell you, you'll arrest my relative. I didn't know he gave me poison." Pinliang looked like he was in a difficult position, but in fact he said all the important clues. Lu Wangli's eyes lit up. There was more to this. That meant that Pinliang wasn't the mastermind and according to the current situation he was also a victim? So Lu Wangli said, "Zhong Pinliang, you have to tell the truth now. Otherwise you'll be taking the blame for someone else, you know? If this matter really has nothing to do with you, considering that it's your first offense and that you're a patient now, you can atone for your crimes with good deeds. You can be given a lighter punishment or even be exempted from punishment." Sigh. Pinliang sighed and hesitated for a while. "If you don't punish me, will you punish my relative? Will he be sentenced to death? If it really has nothing to do with you, your responsibility can be lightened or even exempted. But if your relative is the mastermind, then his crime will be heavy. As for whether he will be sentenced to death or not, it depends on his attitude of admitting his mistake and his motive. Of course, it still depends on the court's decision." Lu Wangli said. "All right, you can find out even if I don't tell you." Pinliang nodded and began to explain, "Actually, this is what happened. I have to start from when my kidney was cut off. After my kidney was cut off, my classmates all laughed at me and looked at me weirdly. Some of them even said that I'm not a complete man anymore, that I'm a eunuch. Some even mocked me and said that I sold my kidney to buy an iPad. This made me lose all my face. I hate them. These people are too evil. They don't understand the pain in my heart. They don't know how inferior I feel. I hate them." And then, Lu Wangli nodded. He started to sympathize with Zhong Pinliang. He had already lost a kidney and he was still being laughed at. No one would be able to take it. "A while ago I even paid for everyone to go to the beach and what did they do to me? They mocked me and I hate them. I want to take revenge." Pinliang couldn't hold back the anger in his eyes. "Continue. How do you want to take revenge on them?" Lu Wangli thought. Was this Pinliang's motive for poisoning his kidney? "I didn't know how to take revenge on them. At that time a relative of mine came to visit me. I told him my idea. He said that he would help me come up with an idea. He said that he would take care of it all. So he helped me come up with a plan to trick them. He asked me to put laxatives in the food in the cafeteria. That way when they go to the toilet during class, the school's toilets will be full and they will shit their pants. That way they will lose all their face. They will know how painful it is to be mocked. I can laugh at them as much as I want. Laxatives. Lu Wangli frowned. If Pin Liang only put laxatives in the food, it wouldn't be considered a crime. As long as there weren't any serious consequences, it was just a prank. Chapter 683. Surrendering. I just wanted to teach them a lesson. I didn't want to send them to the hospital. The relative who gave me the idea was in the medical business, so I asked him to buy some laxatives for me. The laxatives he bought for you are the poison you put in the cafeteria? Lu Wangli nodded and continued asking. Yes, but he didn't say it was a poison, just a laxative. Pin Liang said. He said that the laxative was made up of 7 herbs and the side effects were minimal, but it'd be a huge problem if everyone in the school got diarrhea. He said that only a few of the 7 herbs would cause diarrhea, and the effects would be different depending on the type of herb taken. That way no one would suspect anything. Pin Liang said. That's right, Pin Liang. Lu Wangli nodded. If what Zhong Pingliang said was true, then he might have been used by his relative. After all, the idea and the laxatives were all provided by his relative. Zhong Pingliang was just a person who was tricked into carrying out the plan. From the fact that the relative gave Zhong Pingliang 7 herbs, it could be seen that the relative definitely didn't mistake the other herbs for laxatives. This kind of concoction was done deliberately and meticulously. And this Zhong Pingliang was really dumb. He just did what someone told him to do and he took it seriously. What's your relative's name? Lu Wangli asked. Jin Maoxing, a distant relative of my uncle Jin Gubong, Zhong Pingliang said. Lu Wangli nodded. Just as he was about to say something, the phone rang. Lu Wangli took it out and saw that it was a call from the team, so he quickly picked up the phone. I'm Lu Wangli, please speak. Captain Lu, a person called Jin Maoxing came to the police station to surrender. He said that he was the mastermind of the Songshan cafeteria poisoning case. The call was from one of Lu Wangli's subordinates. Oh, okay, I'll go right now. Lu Wangli thought to himself that this was really a coincidence. He had just gotten the name of the criminal suspect, and the other party had already surrendered. But this way Lu Wangli didn't doubt Zhong Pingliang's words anymore. After hanging up, Lu Wangli turned to Zhong Pingliang. Zhong Pingliang, although you're a victim in this case, you're still responsible for it. Please don't leave Songshan for now until the case is over. All right. Pingliang nodded. I'll be staying in the hospital for a while. I won't wander around. You don't have to be afraid now. The kidney trafficking organization has been wiped out by the police, so you don't have to feel any psychological burden. Lu Wangli said, we hope that you can be a witness for the police. When the time comes, we can accuse the kidney trafficking organization. The kidney trafficking organization has been wiped out? Pinliang was shocked. He'd just gotten a kidney transplant at noon. How did he get wiped out so quickly? Wasn't this speed a little too fast? Yes, the kidney trafficking organization's headquarters has been uprooted. Of course, if you're worried that the kidney trafficking organization will take revenge on you, we can send some police to protect you while you're in the hospital. Lu Wangli said. Pinliang said that he didn't want to testify because he was afraid of losing face and revenge. It was all bullsh*t to confuse Lu Wangli. But now that he heard that the kidney trafficking organization had been wiped out, Pinliang was tempted. Did Zheng Wen get arrested? Pinliang still hated Zheng Wen. After all, he was the culprit who cut off his kidney. As for Lin Yi, Pinliang didn't hate him anymore. He'd already given Lin Yi's kidney to himself. Why would he hate Lin Yi? He should pity him instead. A great master in the Lin family had lost a kidney. It would be a joke if people heard about it. He heard from Heibao Bro that Lin Yi was also a golden class master. If he got a golden class master's kidney, would he have the strength of a golden class master? He didn't need all of it, just half would be enough. Pinliang fantasized about a wonderful life where he could dominate the world, planning to test out his strength after he recovered from his illness. So, when he heard that the kidney trafficking organization had been wiped out, Pin Liang was actually very happy after the shock. He couldn't do anything to Jiang Wen, but the police could. Now that he had a kidney, he didn't need anything from Jiang Wen anymore. If it was destroyed, then so be it. Is that so? If I'm a witness, then wouldn't I be able to atone for my crime? Pin Liang pretended to be hesitant as he asked. Of course. After all, we need to consider your final punishment, Lu Wangli said. All right, I'll testify. Pin Liang nodded, but you have to protect me. I don't want the kidney trafficking organization to take revenge on me. Don't worry about that. We will definitely consider the witness's safety. Lu Wangli nodded. Pin Liang was feeling great. Not only was he fine after poisoning the kidney, he even had the police to protect him. He was too awesome. If Lin Yi saw this, Lin Yi would probably die from anger. What? After Lu Wangli left, Zhong Fabai quickly walked into Pin Liang's ward. Pin Liang, how is it? Is there any problem? It's fine. My acting skills are pretty good. Pin Liang said proudly that Lu Wangli seemed to sympathize with me. He told me that I was tricked. Now that I'm atoning for my crime, there shouldn't be any problem. That's good. Fabai nodded. Everything has been arranged for your uncle Jin Gubong's relative. Master Bing gave his family 3 million as a settlement allowance. His wife died early and he had 2 sons. He was worried that he wouldn't have enough money to arrange a wedding for them. Now that he has everything, he's overjoyed. He said that it was worth it even if he died. Right, Dad, I heard from Lu Wangli that the police wiped out the kidney trafficking organization. Pin Liang lowered his voice. Say, I just got a kidney transplant this afternoon. Why did the police wipe them out so quickly? Did they wipe out Jiang Wen's headquarters? No way. So fast. That Jiang Wen is really unlucky. Fabai said with an indescribable joy in his heart. His son's kidney was removed. It wasn't as simple as returning one back. Now that his headquarters was wiped out, it was his punishment. But God bless House Zhong. They were wiped out right after you got a kidney transplant. You're really lucky. Chapter 684. Motive. That's true. Fabai thought about it carefully and it was true. It seemed like House Zhong was going to prosper. Thus the father and son laughed happily in the ward. After laughing for a while, Zhong Pingliang felt that something was wrong and quickly said, Dad, don't laugh. Lu Wangli said that he would send police to protect me. Don't let them see anything wrong. Fabai's smile stopped abruptly. He almost choked to death. After a while he said, Why didn't you say so earlier? Jean Maoxing had rehearsed many times, so when he arrived at the police station he was familiar with the process and directly confessed the problem. As for why he surrendered, it was because he watched the TV and couldn't take the pressure anymore. His motive was actually very simple. It was a spur-of-the-moment idea. After listening to Zhong Pingliang's confession, he came up with this revenge plan on the spur of the moment. And the reason why he wanted revenge was because of something that happened a year ago. A year ago, Jean Maoxing's family was very poor. He raised 2 children alone. The money he earned from selling herbs was not enough at all. His daily expenses were enough, but he still had to find wives for his 2 sons, right? Without a house and a car, who would follow you? So Jean Maoxing's mind became active. He wanted to do something himself, so he found his distant relative Jean Gubong and asked him to think of a way to help him. He contracted the cafeteria of E High School, which solved the urgent problem. The cafeteria was a money-making job. If it was done well, it wouldn't be a problem to make a few $100,000 a year. Jean Maoxing thought that contracting a cafeteria shouldn't be difficult for Jean Gubong, the second largest shareholder of Pingzhan Industries. In fact, Jean Gubong didn't think it was difficult. Although he was a distant relative, they were still relatives with the same surname. If he could help, he would. It didn't take much effort. It was just a matter of moving his lips. However, he didn't expect that when Jean Gubong raised this suggestion at the board meeting, it was rejected by Pingzhan. The reason was very simple. The cafeteria of E High School had to be self-operated. This way, the freshness of the ingredients could be guaranteed and it could also generate a lot of income for the school. Why not? Gubong was humiliated and he hated Pingzhan to the core. However, he had always been planning to replace Pingzhan, so he didn't show it, only telling Jean Maoxing what Pingzhan had said. Jean Maoxing failed to contract the cafeteria and he hated Pingzhan to the core. It wasn't like Pingzhan didn't want to pay the contract fee. They were self-employed and they wouldn't earn much more than Pingzhan, so why couldn't he contract it? It wasn't like he had nothing to do with it. However, because Jean Gubong was still a shareholder of the group, although Jean Maoxing was unhappy, he did not do anything else. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. Zhong Pingliang's confession reminded Jean Maoxing of the hatred from a year ago. Now that Jean Gubong was no longer the chairman of the group, whatever Jean Maoxing did wouldn't affect Jean Gubong anymore. Originally, he was angry because he failed to contract the cafeteria, so Jean Maoxing also set his sights on the school cafeteria. Aren't you self-employed? Then I'll let something happen to you. Let's see what the consequences of self-employment are. Of course, when Jean Maoxing did this, he also considered the consequences. However, he remembered that the poison he used was learned from an old traditional Chinese medicine doctor when he was traveling in Jianghu to collect medicine. It was an ancient prescription that had been lost and the concoction was complicated. It required 7 herbs to be present at the same time for the poison to be poisoned. The hospital and the police shouldn't be able to find such a special poison, so in the end he could only let it go. However, he didn't expect that miracle Dr. Guan's medical company actually found it, and they even gave the poison formula to the police. This made Jean Maoxing unable to sit still. He couldn't withstand the pressure, so he came to the police station to surrender. What Jean Maoxing said was reasonable, and the reason for the crime was sufficient. The remaining 7 herbs were also found in his house, which allowed the police to close the case very quickly. As for Zhong Pingliang, Jean Maoxing also made it very clear that he was just using him. It had nothing much to do with Zhong Pingliang. He would take responsibility for what he did, so he didn't want to punish Zhong Pingliang. Lu Wangli was originally full of sympathy for Zhong Pingliang. After a meeting and discussion, since Zhong Pingliang was a victim of the kidney trafficking company, the city was now weakening the influence of the kidney trafficking company on the people. It was not appropriate to publicize Zhong Pingliang's matter too openly. Zhong Pingliang was also bewitched by Jean Maoxing and was deceived by Jean Maoxing. He was also a victim, so he was exempted from criminal punishment, but he still needed to be criticized and educated. However, they didn't know if all the remaining members of the kidney trafficking company were caught. As a victim of the kidney trafficking company, the police still gave Zhong Pingliang the necessary protection measures while he was in the hospital. There were police officers guarding near Zhong Pingliang's ward 24 hours a day. The police needed the victim to testify in court against the crime of the criminal group and Zhong Pingliang. However, after the incident, Lu Wangli called Ding Binggong and talked about Zhong Pingliang's matter alone. Principal Ding, this student Zhong Pingliang is actually very pitiful. One of his kidneys was cut off. It's already tragic enough and the students are laughing at him. This is not good for his psychological growth. Lu Wangli said, I suggest the school to organize a charity activity and visit Zhong Pingliang in the hospital together. Lu Wangli was doing his best for Zhong Pingliang. In order to prevent his psychological growth from being distorted, he made such a suggestion to the school. Ding Binggong naturally agreed immediately. After all, although the students' academic results were important, the students' psychological quality couldn't be ignored. Thus, the incident of the first high school students fainting together was considered to have temporarily come to an end. The first high school's reputation was basically restored, and they were just waiting for the police to hold a press conference to announce the truth of the matter. As for Tang Yun calling Lin Yi and asking Lin Yi to save his love rival, Lu Xingwen and Kong Xiaobo were helpless. Since Tang Yun was willing, what else could they say? There was nothing going on in the afternoon, so Kong Mingming decided to bring Xiaofan to the hospital for a follow-up. Xiaofan's schizophrenia was obviously much better after a period of treatment. Ever since she met Kong Mingming, Xiaofan had completely lost confidence in Kong Mingming and removed his name from her heart. This was also what Kong Xiaobo was happy to see. Otherwise, Kong Xiaobo would always feel that he was a substitute for Kong Mingming. Chapter 685. Translator. Exodus Tales Editor. Exodus Tales. However, the doctors in the hospital had made it clear that Xiaofan's schizophrenia was mainly caused by her mental illness. She could only be cured by undoing the knot in her heart. The hospital could only control the madness during the illness, and the treatment wouldn't be effective. Kong Xiaobo's appearance gave Xiaofan's parents hope, but they were still worried. Although Kong Xiaobo liked their daughter, would Kong Xiaobo's parents be able to accept their daughter? Of course, everything would be fine if their daughter wasn't in trouble. Although their family wasn't rich, their daughter was beautiful. Kong Xiaobo's family wasn't rich either, so they could be considered a perfect match for each other. But now, not only did their daughter become a broken flower, she even had problems with her legs. Her mental health was better, but she still had a history of mental illness. Although this kind of mental illness formed from emotional trauma wouldn't be inherited, Kong Xiaobo's family might not think so. What if they objected? So Xiaofan's family was worried, but there was nothing they could do. They could only hope that Kong Xiaobo could deal with it. However, Xiaofan's parents never expected that Kong Xiaobo would bring Xiaofan to Dr. Kang's birthday banquet. Not only did she meet Kong Mingming, but she also met Kong Xiaobo's parents. This put Xiaofan's parents in a perturbed mood. They were afraid that Kong Xiaobo's parents would come looking for them. They were afraid that Kong Xiaobo's parents would separate the two children. But after waiting for a few days, Kong Xiaobo's parents didn't come looking for them. On the contrary, Kong Xiaobo was still the same as before, visiting Xiaofan frequently. This made Xiaofan's parents feel relieved, and at the same time, they were deeply grateful to Kong Xiaobo's parents. However, after asking his daughter about it, he realized that things were not as they had imagined. Kong Xiaobo's parents objected to them being together at first, but because of Lin Yi's help, Kong Xiaobo's parents finally agreed. There was no other reason. Lin Yi gave Kong Xiaobo a chance to stand out. It also gave Kong Xiaobo the confidence and capital to speak in front of his parents. After all, it could be said that Kong Xiaobo had already grown up and could take charge of things on his own. He would handle matters of the heart well. Xiaofan's parents were happy to see Kong Xiaobo, Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen. However, they were curious. Don't you have school today? Why are you here so early? It's a school holiday, so I'm thinking of bringing Xiaofan to the hospital for a checkup. Kong Xiaobo smiled as he greeted Xiaofan's parents. And I wanted to go to the hospital to see Uncle Tang too. I wanted to go for a long time, but my legs aren't convenient. My parents were worried about me, so I went by myself. Xiaofan heard Kong Xiaobo's suggestion and said happily. Xiaofan and Tang Yun were good friends since young. She often went to Tang Yun's house to eat, so she was familiar with Tang Yun's parents. Since Tang Juqing was hospitalized, she naturally had to visit. Yeah, we also want to see old Tang, but we don't know when Qibing Real Estate will come to demolish the house. We don't dare to leave, afraid that the bulldozers will come and destroy the house. Xiaofan's parents sighed. These people are too wicked, there's nothing we can do. Ah? Can't be, right? They dare to do that. Kong Xiaobo was shocked. What's wrong with that? They even dare to demolish Tang Yun's house when there's someone in it, let alone those without? Xiaofan's father said angrily. Old Nio's house in the front yard was demolished by a bulldozer just because he went out. Now he has no place to go and his family doesn't even know where to live. They really dare to do that? Kong Xiaobo clenched his fist in anger, but he knew that he wasn't capable enough to change anything, if only boss was willing to do something about it. Wasn't it unbelievable that Lin Yi dared to push down Zhao Qibing's skyscraper and cripple Zhao Qibing without any repercussions? Wasn't it unbelievable? What he didn't understand was why Zhao Qibing didn't take revenge. Bullying the weak and fearing the strong. In fact, what Kong Xiaobo didn't know was why Zhao Qibing didn't take revenge. He did take revenge on Pingzhan, but he didn't expect Lin Yi to resolve it. Forget it, we're just commoners. Those people are more powerful than the mafia. We don't dare to go against them. Xiaofan's father shook his head. How can Lin Yi take care of everything? Don't give him any more trouble. It wasn't that Xiaofan's parents didn't want Lin Yi to talk to Zhao Qibing and ask for more compensation, but why would Lin Yi help them? Lin Yi probably didn't care about the compensation. From the way he dealt with Zhao Qibing, it could be seen that he didn't lack money, he just wanted to vent his anger. Kong Xiaobo didn't dare to simply agree. He could only wait until he saw Lin Yi and talk to him. Although he didn't need Lin Yi to take care of everything, he still wanted to help Xiaofan's family. After all, she was his girlfriend, wasn't she? Kong Xiaobo brought Xiaofan, Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen out of the slums. They stopped a taxi and the four of them rushed to the hospital. Kong Xiaoming was shivering in the ice hockey rink. He didn't care about the people looking at him as if he was an idiot. Finally, he felt that he couldn't take it anymore. His body was hot and cold at the same time. Tears and snot flowed down his face. He almost fainted. He turned to Zhu Xiaozhong and asked, "Xiaozhong, can you check if I have a fever?" Zhu Xiaozhong quickly touched Kong Xiaoming's forehead and jumped in fright. "Master Ming, your head is so hot." It was also very reasonable. Just as Kong Ming was feeling good about himself, Guan Xian's face darkened. "Our hospital system is very clear and we have a clear fee. We can't cheat you and all of our doctors have medical licenses. There's no way they'll kill you." That's hard to say. Even if the price is clearly marked, there will still be under-the-table manipulation. Kong Ming's mind was still muddled and he didn't notice Guan Xian's displeasure. He continued to speak in a self-righteous tone. "These hospital bosses are all black-hearted. I'm really worried about them. My dad's not evil." Guan Xian glared at Kong Ming before turning around and ignoring him. Kong Ming froze when he heard Guan Xian's words. Then he suddenly realized what was going on. Guan Xian's father, Guan Xiaoxiang, was Guan Xueming's son? And Guan Xueming's youngest son, Guan Xian's father, was a shareholder of this hospital. It's really over. Wasn't he pointing at the mulberry tree and scolding the locust tree? Wouldn't Guan Xian hate him to death now? Last time he called her grandfather a liar and this time her father a black-hearted boss. What the hell, was there any way to salvage the situation? Kong Ming almost fainted on the spot. Not to mention the awkwardness. It seemed that the flu and fever were really harmful. If one's mind wasn't clear, one's words were easily incoherent. "Guan Xian, don't be angry, that's not what I meant. I'm not saying that your dad is black-hearted. I'm just scared of some black-hearted businessmen." Kong Ming quickly explained, "I have a cold and a fever. My mind isn't clear, so I'm talking nonsense. You can't be calculative with a sick person, right? If you're sick, then go see the doctor. I need to work." Guan Xian understood Kong Ming's thoughts. If it wasn't for the fact that Kong Ming wanted to pursue her, he wouldn't have come to her. But Guan Xian didn't like him, so she wouldn't give him a chance. Kong Xiaoming didn't want to pester Guan Xian to accompany him anymore. He glanced at Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhong, signaling them to bring him to the registration counter. After all, he could always ask Guan Xian for the injection after he got the doctor's order. Not long after Kong Ming left, Kong Xiaobo came looking for him. Kong Xiaobo didn't know anyone in the hospital, so it was more convenient to bring Xiaofan to the doctor. He met Guan Xian through Lin Yi last time, and he knew that she was Guan Xueming's granddaughter. Kong Xiaobo naturally had a good relationship with her. Guan Xian was also happy to be friends with Kong Xiaobo. Why? Guan Xian didn't know. Was it because he was Lin Yi's good friend? However, Guan Xian still felt a little awkward when she saw Tang Yun beside Kong Xiaobo. It seemed that her little thoughts didn't escape the beautiful girl's eyes. "Guan Xian, I brought Xiaofan here for a follow-up. Are you busy? Can you take us there?" Kong Xiaobo asked with a smile after entering the nurse's office. "Of course, let me finish what I'm doing." Guan Xian was preparing some medicine for external injuries. She needed to send it to the ward, so she had to prepare it before she could do anything else. "Then I'll have to trouble you." Kong Xiaobo nodded gratefully. Sometimes the doctor wouldn't be in the room, so if Kong Xiaobo brought Xiaofan to the doctor, he might not be able to find her. "It's fine, what trouble?" Guan Xian shook her head. "You guys take a seat first, I still need to prepare for a while." "Okay, you go ahead." Kong Xiaobo pulled Xiaofan to sit on the sofa and Tang Yun was a little nervous. As a girl, her intuition told her that there was something between Lin Yi and Guan Xian. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.